So in today's video, I'm actually going to answer a question. I've been talking to this person in one of my videos in the comments. So her thing is, her J1 visa got declined twice. And so in today's video, I'm going to give tips and tricks, or just like try to figure out why is her J1 visa getting declined. And hopefully this will help everyone who's out there. I will put the comment on the screen because this is what she said. I will show you guys. But I'm just going to answer it because I know there's quite a few au pairs that are going to either go through this or currently going through it. And so I'm going to give you steps or tricks on how to prevent it, number one. Number two, just how if your visa gets declined, even the first time, maybe these are the steps you can look at and see, okay, these are maybe change this, change that, whatever. Now, I'm not saying this is guaranteed to get you a yes from the embassy, but this is definitely gonna help you. First of all, to the girl that I'm responding to and to everyone else who's had their visas declined, I just want to apologize because it probably sucks. Or it just feels, I've never had a J1 visa get declined. I've had a visitor's visa gets declined. And I know what it feels like. It just feels like you're wasting money, and it feels irritated because you finally got your profile set up and you finally now got like a host family, and going to get your J1 visa declined not once but twice can be frustrating because you also have the fear that they could be like, never mind, I'm just gonna look for a new au pair, and you already found your family, you are really so excited to leave. And so this can really suck, and I just want to empathize and say that it is gonna be okay. Don't give up hope. I'm always here to help and try to figure out how I can help as best as possible. However, you also have the person that's helping you if you're going with an agency. Speak with them, meet with them, and be like, hey, how can I also improve it? And then another thing I also want to say is, when they declined you, what was the reason? What did they say is the reason for you getting declined? Did they say, oh, you lack information? Did they say they didn't think you're gonna come back? What did they say in like specifically? That way you know for the next time. And if you are going for your J1 visa, maybe you haven't been declined, I would say if you go and they decline you, just ask, like say in a nice polite way, like, sorry, if you don't mind me asking, why was I declined? And like hopefully they will tell you, or some will say, we don't think you have strong enough evidence to come back, that kind of stuff. And so I would highly recommend asking. But let's get to the tips. Okay, so number one, your documents. Check all your documents so you have all the documents they required. Now I do say, don't over give them the documents, give them exactly what they asked for, but be ready. Come ready with all the documents. Did you have all your documents they required? When you applied for your J1 visa, did you do the application online, or did the person at the agency do it for you? Because for me personally, both times I did not have to apply for my own J1 visa. I just had to show up with all the documents. My agency told me what documents to carry. But as I'm saying with you, did you show up and did you apply for your own J1 visa? Because that could be a problem if you applied for your own J1 visa online. Maybe there's things you're ticking that you shouldn't have ticked, or maybe there's things that there's like not errors but just things you should have said that would make your whole application look more favorable. So that's my first question. Who applied for your J1 visa for you, and did you have all your documents? Did you come with a copy of your passport? Did you come with a copy of your proof of address? Did you have every single thing they wanted for you? And I also would say, because somebody on one of the au pair groups that I was on there said, they were like, don't offer to give all your documents. Come with all your documents and be ready if they ask you, but give them only what they ask you, because if you over catering, they're gonna be like, this one is sus. And I never looked at it that way until that girl said that, and I was like, that's very interesting, because you would assume they want you to just bring all the documents and give it to them, but no, carry your documents, and then whatever they ask for, just give them. Okay. Number two, did you have like strong enough proof to say that you're going to return? So they want to make sure that there is proof that you are going to come back to your home country. If you're coming into America specifically, they always want to make sure that, listen, are you coming back yet? So meaning, did you have like a letter of a company saying that, hey, when you come back, we're going to give you a job, that kind of stuff. In my first year, the company I worked for gave me a letter saying, we love Angel working for us. When her au pair year is up, we're gonna want her to come back and work with us. She always has a position here, that kind of stuff. And then the second time I came, the school I went to, I showed them like this this paper that, hey, I did a marketing course at the school, I'm doing it. And my whole story also was like, listen, I'm going to America to learn, like I want to learn more marketing in America because it's a first world country and they do well with marketing, and it'll look favorable on my resume, and come back and carry on studying at that school, that whole thing. And so that they were like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. And the same thing with the first year. They were like, in my first year I was like, listen, I want to come to America, I want to experience America, that whole thing. I was also a bit younger, that, you know, just like super young. I was like, I'm taking a gap year or whatever, but I'm definitely coming back to this job. And so do you have like those letters or something that is strong for you to come back to your country? I know some au pairs use title deeds because their name was on the house they lived in or they owned, and so they're like, look, I have to come back, I own a house, or like I have a godson, or like stuff like that, where it's like you need to have proof that you're coming back to your country, or you're gonna go home after your 1 year, that you're not gonna stay here and be a government's problem. Number 3 is you need to know your host family's information. You need to know your host family's information because they're gonna ask you at the embassy. They're gonna be like, oh, you're going to New Jersey. And the first time I forgot, guys. They said, lucky. The guy was like, oh, you went to New Jersey. And I was like, mm-hmm. And he's like, what side? And I was like, to be honest with you, I don't know what side of New Jersey. Like, I'm still learning the states in America. Luckily, I had a great person and they laughed and they taught me. They're like, don't worry, you're going to a warm side. It ended up turning into like a fun thing where he made my interview actually so much fun because we were talking and chatting. He's like, oh, I'm from that side. I'm from this side, like it's between Maryland and what's this thing, and New Jersey, like Ocean City side. And he's like, oh, it'll be fun, don't worry, but you far from there, like it's a bit warmer. And this was a Durban interview. And so I would say know your host family's information. They definitely asked me how many kids I'm going to look after. I knew that. They asked me what my host family did, and this is both times. The second time also, they asked me what my host family did, how many kids I'm going to look after, am I excited, why do I want to become an au pair. Just know stuff like that. Know what your host family, or my second host family, I knew like his position. I didn't know his, I knew his company, I didn't know his position. I just said he worked for this company. But my host mom was like, oh, she's just this. And so even if you don't know their specific, like if let's say your host dad is a VP at this company or a VP at Target, instead of saying, oh, he's a VP, if you're not going to remember his position, just say he works at Target, he's like a CEO, or he has a high position in Target, or that kind of stuff. Know the information. Know how many kids are you going to look after. Know the kids' names. Like, know that stuff because they're going to ask you. And if they ask you, let's say they ask you, so what does your host family do? And you're like, oh, my host mom's a doctor, and my host dad, I think he is a judge. They're like, okay. And then they're like, how old are the kids? And they're like, I think one of them is like 6, one of them is like 5, I think 5 or 6 or 4. They're gonna be like, you playing with us. And so like that's my thing, like come sure and confident that you know your host family's age. I mean, you know the kids' ages, you know, even if like, listen, I was like, my host kid is 6. He turned 6 in January. I didn't know his exact day. I was like, he turned 6 in January. He'll be the 7 by the time I come home. I even added some spice because I was like, I know, I knew his age for sure. Now, I didn't know my host dad, as I said to you guys, his position, but I made it up with like the stuff that I did know. I added some extra spice in there. And so as I'm saying to you, don't be like, I think, I don't know, what town do they stay in? Be sure. My host family stays in Washington, D.C. Oh, that's cool. How old is your host kid? He's 7. What grade? If they say like what grade or what thing he's in, say, I think he's in middle school. I don't know exactly because I'm still confused between the whole pre-K, middle school, elementary, that kind of stuff. And if you're from a country that doesn't have that, they will understand. But be honest and make sure you know information about your host family, because I feel like the more hesitant you are, the more they're going to be like, this girl doesn't even know, but she wants to go au pair. Number 4, which is definitely a big one, is if you failed at one specific embassy, I highly recommend going to another one. Now, when I first did my J1 visa interview, I did it in Durban. And at that time, I didn't realize how hectic or people can, I don't even, to be honest with you, I don't even know people could get declined, because as I said to you, I didn't know people who were an au pair. My dean was an au pair like 20 years prior, so like basically it was like I hadn't known anyone. So when I did my J1 visa interview, I just thought it was protocol, y'all. I was like, I did my test, and when you go to the embassies, they always tell you to switch off your phone, and so my phone was off. I came out, I was off for the rest of the day. I came out, my phone was still off. I zillaed around town, did my thing, went to go see my cousins, had lunch, did that whole vibe. And when I put my phone on, I had so many messages from my consultant, the girl that helped me. She was amazing, by the way. She was like, yo, like, I've been trying to contact you. I thought you got, like, what happened? Any news? And I was like, yeah, I got it. They said I'm going to get it, like, you know, in 3 to 5 days, whatever. I have to pick it up. And she was like, oh, I thought you got declined. I thought you were sad. That's why your phone was off the whole time. And I was like, oh, you can get declined? That was like the first time I realized like the pressure of how nerve-wracking it can be to go to the embassy. And I think also not knowing that helped me, because I was not nervous at all. I was not panicking. I was literally just answering. I was just being myself, and the nerves did not get the better of me. So that also helped me. But yeah, I think if you got declined in one place, because the second time I became an au pair, I did not do it in Durban. They were like, people are getting declined in Durban, the lady in Durban is not the greatest. And so I went to Joburg and I did mine, and I had an amazing man. He did it with me and he helped me, and he was just great. And so I would say, if you get declined in one place, try go to a different embassy. It just also could be the person that's helping you. Now, I'm not saying you guaranteed to get it at a different embassy also, but the chances are higher. There's been people who have done it in Durban recently and got it, but majority of the Durban people are going to Joburg or Cape Town. So it's stuff like that. Even my friend, when she did it, she went to Joburg. And so it's stuff like that where I would say maybe switch embassies. Like, especially now that you got declined twice, I would try to do a different embassy. Lastly, and I hope it doesn't come to this for you or for anyone watching this video, sadly, but if you still keep getting declined on your J1 visa, I would say consider looking at other countries. Consider maybe starting to think about au pairing in a different country, because if you've tried all these steps and you've ticked all your T's and crossed all your you crossed all your dots or your I's or whatever that term is called, and you're still getting declined, I would rather have you not waste your money and go pay in another country. And so I would say go au pair in that country, a different country, for at least a year. Give it some time, go au pair, go embrace it or whatever, and then maybe come back and try again. Like, try go au pair in a different country. Maybe they also would want like more experience from you. So if, let's say, you go au pair in the Netherlands for a year and then you go back home and you're like, I want to become an au pair, and they ask you like, so what have you been lost at? And you're like, no, I au paired in the Netherlands and now I want to try America for 1 year as a cultural travel experience thing. I think you more likely will also get it too. But I hope it never gets to this point. I pray that nobody has to like pivot just because. If they really want to go to a country, I pray they get it. And so yeah, that is all for today's video. I hope it answered your questions. I am praying that you guys get a yes for your J1 visas, and I hope it goes through. Bye.